Hello, everybody. The November 19th, 2024 meeting of the Carleton School District Board of Directors is called to order. Dr. Sherry, would you mind leading us in the pledge tonight?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Secretary, please call the roll.
Director Apples.
He is hoping to come here later, but he's at a work event.
Director Luke.
He is not able to be here today.
Director Honchar.
Here.
Director O'Brien.
She is unable to be here tonight.
Director Puskar.
Here.
Director Simsek.
Here.
Director Shriver.
Here.
Director Bogliano.
Here.
Director Uletsky.
So there's a moment at the beginning of each meeting where we invite the public to ask any questions about agenda items. Does anybody have any questions about items on the agenda today? Yes.
So I just have a couple questions. I'm Brittany, Carnegie School District, or Carnegie resident, named Susan, third grade. Because I couldn't find any information and I apologize. So I just have a couple questions about the new potential hire for the principal at Carnegie. I know we had talked about like hiring someone that for the EL, English as Language Learning, sister taught me the new word for it and I can't remember it today.
English language learners.
Yes. But what is their background in that? Because I did some research today and I couldn't really find any information about her background in it. So I'm just curious about what her background in that is, if that's, you know, because it was a dual position. And so I'm also curious about what input besides the survey, because I only saw that one survey and I didn't see anything else after that or hear anything else after that. So I'm a little disappointed because I thought we were going to maybe hear a little bit more about what that was going to look like.
Well, Dr. Franzik is with us tonight. When she does her introduction, she will give a little bit of background into her professional experiences and qualifications for the position. But we did send out the survey to both our staff and to our parents. And what we did was we used the information gleaned from that survey to, one, focus our search for the individual, and then also go through and develop interview questions that were based upon the survey information that we received. In regard to selecting applicants for interview, we used the survey data itself and really conducted a narrow search into those candidates who met the qualifications of having at least 3 years of building level experience at the elementary in particular, and then who then also had a strand of experience with ELL and program development.
And what is that? I mean, I'm just curious before you guys vote on it, like what is that experience? Because again, I couldn't find anything in my research, and as a parent at Carnegie Elementary School, where all of those students are currently going, I'd like to get a little bit more background before you make a decision on the person that's going to be leading that school. And I know she's sitting right here, but
Right.
she's not officially approved yet, so like I don't want to direct my questions to her, so I'm asking.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so as the Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum in Chartiers Valley, a lot of curriculum development and background information with that has its natural tendency to lean towards ESL program development, for which it did. Dr. Franzik had experience working with ELL learners and then also programming in that area as well.
So when you say experience working, like directly working with those students and their families,
Directly
or just with the curriculum?
Overseeing the program.
So not directly working with the students and the families, because as the principal, that's what her primary, again, I apologize because you're right here, and so I don't want you to think I'm being rude. But I mean, that's gonna be her primary role as the principal there, and so it's different than overseeing curriculum and instruction as working one-on-one with those families, those students, the other students, to making sure like that. So like, did she have experience in working one-on-one that way?
Yes. Yes,
What
she
was
does.
that experience?
I would really have to go back and check my notes in particular to go back.
And I don't want to sound rude, but like when we talked at the superintendent's forum, like you guys as a board decided we're sending all the students to Carnegie Elementary who are English learners, right? Great. You tried to find out. So now you're going to put someone in charge. So I want to make sure that those students have the right person who's going to be kind of leading them. As someone who they obviously maybe didn't even know about board meetings, don't even know how to get here, like, to be that voice. So, again, I apologize, nothing towards you.
Yeah, to answer your question directly, yes, those were questions that we targeted
Okay.
to make sure that there was experience, one, working with programming, and then two, working with families in particular, more broadly than just directed towards ELL, but families in general, community engagement and family engagement, I think was another piece that we were looking for as well.
Okay, thank you.
There was another person that asked a question.
Yeah, I just noticed the calendar change that's being proposed, and so as a planner by necessity, I just individually have sort of made plans based on there not being school in March, and so I'm just curious, what's the impact then of what now, I guess, becomes an unexcused absence, and, I just never experienced this change before, so how does that play out as a transition?
So as far as attendance, we would follow normal procedures for students not being present in school. Following up with a note from the parent would be sufficient. But the impetus behind the change towards that schedule, to move it from March into January, was based on our professional development model, taking a look at text-dependent analysis types of questions, and then also more specific training in special education. Our goal is to bring that further up into the school year in January as opposed to March, so that our staff has more time to implement the strategies that they acquire through professional development.
I think that's a great justification. I just want to make sure that I can, now as a parent, like I have non-refundable travel plans, and again, not looking to just advocate for myself, but trying to figure out what that process looks like.
Any other questions on agenda items tonight? If not, we can move on. Or do we have a couple of minutes from previous meetings that we'd like approval on? So I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes under section 2.
Second.
Move to second. Any questions or discussion? Not the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Under section 3 reports, I'll report that we had an executive session part of this meeting where we discussed personnel, real estate, and contract negotiations. Dr. Craig, we have a superintendent report.
I do. A few things. We have several things on the board agenda this evening, one of which is the SCA tentative agreement. We are pleased to announce that the district and the SCA is represented by our secretaries, paraprofessionals, and cafeteria workers. It's a group of hard-working individuals that provide great services to the school district and for our students. The negotiation process was relatively long, drawn out a little bit. Nonetheless, I think the conversations that we had were extremely healthy and very productive, and the end result is reaching an agreement that meets the terms of both the district and the bargaining unit. And publicly, I would like to thank the negotiating team from both the district and from SCA for their approach towards keeping the conversation focused on students and focusing on the services that we provide to our children. And I think the document that we drafted in the end it's a solid document. I think both the district and the SCA are very pleased with the results of that. I know we do have some members of the SCA joining us tonight, so and they were all part of the negotiating team. So thank you for your approach towards the negotiations. It was very appreciated. We also have several board policies that are up for revision. If you notice from our board policies are put into several different categories, anywhere ranging from 000, the 100s, the 200s, the 300s, the 600s, 800s, and 900s. Each one of those represents different categories ranging anywhere from local board procedures to programmatic, to pupils, to finance, to operations, and then also through community. So there are several board updates. I will say we also, to help us guide our decision making with developing policy, we have our subscription to the Pennsylvania School Board Association, which annually, actually on a quarterly basis, provides us with additional information and guides us towards policy recommendations. Policy changes generally are the result of change in legislation or changes with case law. As those things start to emerge and develop, that helps foster the types of board policy recommendations that we have. So there are several in there. 103.1, non-discrimination of qualified students with disabilities. There's minor changes to this and several other policies that go along the same lines. In this one in particular, it moves the delegation of responsibility to the assistant superintendent. And with several of these, it replaces the term local police department with law enforcement, and also changes reporting procedures from the Office of Safe Schools to PDE. Very similar with 113.1, discipline with students with disabilities. It really has to do with where we make our reports to. Doesn't have a whole lot of change towards how we interact in those ways. Behavioral support, same thing. It's reporting things to changes from local police to law enforcement. In addition, with trauma-informed approach, just changes the reporting status of things. Enrollment of students. That policy references students who are experiencing educational instability, which in other terms is homelessness, and children of active duty military families, just making sure that as students go through the enrollment process that there are no barriers placed on enrollment based on students and their different needs. Disciplinary records, 216.1 as we approach into the pupils. This one did have some language change that talked about concerning students, adjudicated delinquents, and transferring students. Requires the district to make sure that they report to law enforcement of any weapons being on or near school property within 1,500 feet. And the policy then also covers communication between the school and the court system and provides latitude for disciplinary action under certain circumstances. 218 also has very similar language, with changing from local police to law enforcement and procedures with reporting to PDE. Weapons, exact same changes. Terroristic threat, exact same changes, with the addition to that with processing any types of terroristic threats, making sure that we adhere to both federal and state laws, and that we follow the MOUs that we have in place with local enforcement agencies. 222, tobacco and vaping. Definition of tobacco within the policy has changed slightly. Replaces the local police department with law enforcement. Reports changing, reporting to PDE. And then also within this one, requires students, or requires the counselor to make recommendations for tobacco cessation programs for students who violate that policy. So it's providing an extra layer of support to students who engage in those types of behaviors. Controlled substance and paraphernalia, very similar types of changes along those lines as well. 234, pregnant parenting and married students, basically just goes through, doesn't put anything different into the policy that changes our practice, but just makes sure that all students, regardless of their situation in regard to being pregnant or parenting or married, that they would have equal access to the curriculum, and it also directs them to the Title IX coordinator in the event through the enrollment process or while they're here at school, that the Title IX coordinator would get involved just to make sure that there's no areas of discrimination for those individuals. Threat assessment, reporting procedures, very similar changes, local police to law enforcement, and changing things over to PDE. Hazing, policy 247, very similar. Dating violence adds the term harassment to accompany discrimination. 254, education opportunity for military children. Again, opens up the procedure for enrollment to assist with families who are subject to very transient due to being a part of a military family, to make sure that the enrollment process is very easy for those children to enter the school district. Educator misconduct adds the term harassment to discrimination, adds language related to sex-based discrimination. Also along the lines for staff members with tobacco and vaping products, very similar to the students. Controlled substances replaces local law enforcement, changes the PDE, and then also adds language that any employee convicted of an offense defined as a felony under the Controlled Substance, Drug, Device, or Cosmetic Act shall be terminated in accordance with applicable law, regulations, and board policy. 807 talks about opening ceremonies. specifically calls out September 11th to make sure that there is a moment of silence on September 11th each year to observe that anniversary. 824, maintaining professional adult student boundaries. There is some language in there that further protects our students in regard to interactions with staff. And goes into the depths of just conversations with students, asking students to keep conversations or gifts or activities a secret, so that all conversations that we have with children are above bar and are not considered to be inappropriate by any means. So there are a lot of policy updates that are on tonight's agenda. As we go through policy updates, as you know, there's 2 readings to those. So tonight will be the first reading, and then the second reading will be in December, and that's when the new policy then is formally adopted. What that does is it gives an opportunity to review those policies more in depth, and then also make any recommended changes to those policies. Also on the board agenda, in regard to the Carnegie Elementary renovation project, we have a motion to accept the services of Massaro Construction Management Services. Massaro is a large organization who has a wealth of experience in K through 12 building renovations and works very closely in that regard. We conducted interviews of several construction management teams last week and made our decision to go with Massaro. So that agreement is on the board agenda tonight. It is pending the review of our solicitor just to make sure that the type of language that we need to protect the district is in there. Once we get that passed, Massaro has plans then to work very closely with Draw Collective. Draw Collective is our architect of record who is overseeing the Carnegie renovation project. So those meetings will start and begin to collaborate to move that project forward. We did talk about the school calendar change. That was something I did want to point out as well, and for the reasons that we pointed out to make that change. We also have another support where we're adding an additional position. That's with a behavioral support specialist. Behavioral support specialist, it's a K through 12 position, will be housed out of an elementary schedule as far as time frame, and will report out of main responsibility as far as housing out of Grafton Elementary School, but will provide services to K through 12 students in general. But what we look for in this position to significantly enhance the services that we provide to students. Behavior support specialists work very closely with students. They also work very closely with staff and teachers to design strategic types of approaches to managing student behaviors to help them deal with issues and to provide strategies for staff to work with students in the classroom as well. Position aligns certainly with our commitment to delivering world-class education and ensuring student success in a safe and nurturing environment. Also joining us this evening is Dr. Julie Franczyk. Dr. Julie Franczyk's name is on the board agenda for the approval of the Carnegie Elementary Principal / K through 12 ELL Program Coordinator. This position was recently created through a letter of agreement with the Act 93 bargaining group. Dr. Franczyk comes to us from Chartiers Valley, where she served as the assistant superintendent for curriculum. She also has experience working at the elementary level, at the intermediate level, grades 3 through 5, and previous experience working as an assistant principal at the junior high level as well. She brings a wealth of experience and knowledge just at the elementary level, and it also has a great deal of experience working with ELL programming and working with students and families as well. So as far as the interview process that we followed with that, as we previously shared, went through several rounds of interviews. It's actually a total of 5 different rounds of interviews. And each of those rounds make sure that we are able to ask the questions and provide the candidate with the opportunity to demonstrate their competencies for the position. So, Dr. Franczyk, I don't know if you want to stand and introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'd love to. Good evening, everyone. It's nice to meet you. I'm Julie Franczyk. I'm, first of all, just very honored to be here tonight. I'm excited about the opportunity. As you said, it was 5 rounds. I didn't really think about that until you said it. So there was a lot to the interview process. And quite honestly, as I went through the process, I would come home and tell my husband, like, I like this. Like like every piece of the process just kept feeling like a really good fit. So I'm really excited to join hopefully the team here, to bring that experience I have, but also to learn from everyone here as well. As far as your question for the EL, I would love to answer that. So as the current position I'm in, I supervise the EL program now, as well as the EL department head, and then being the principal at Chartiers Valley Intermediate School has a high EL population. And going way back to the beginning of my career, I taught in a school district in Florida as a special ed teacher with a high EL population. So I've had the opportunity to work with a lot of students, with a lot of families. At the same time, I still have lots to learn. So I'm always learning, always growing, and taking things. And it sounds like I have a wonderful team here to learn alongside with and grow with. So I'm excited for the opportunity, Dr. Kreider.
And just to shed some light on the interview process, we do require the candidates to go through and review performance data, review district policy, review a lot of different pieces of the district, so that the onboarding process for the finalists, they have a very firm understanding of not just the building, but the children, but the community, but then also the district at large, what our mission and our values and strategic plan looks like, so that when the candidate is formally hired and hits the ground running, they have a lot of background information and have done their homework on the district for sure. That's the superintendent.
If approved, when would she start?
So in Pennsylvania, if you come from a public school, the sending school district is allowed to hold the individual up for 60 days. Some districts choose to do that, and other districts choose not to. We'll work very closely with Char Valley to determine a release date, but at most it would be 60 days from date of resignation. You ready for your graduate report?
Are you
Can I
ready?
just ask a quick question about the policy?
Thank you so much for highlighting those changes. That's incredibly helpful because digging through them was not really feasible.
It's not easy.
When the change to law enforcement, would that include the new school police officer, or should we anticipate additional policy revisions once that position is sort of finalized?
So reporting to local law enforcement would mean that those that are affiliated with our MOU, so that would still be reporting out to Crafton, Carnegie, Robinson, for criminal types of behavior. The school police officer would be here for support, but there are required actions that we still need to report to local law enforcement, so it doesn't replace that. The MOUs that we develop with our local law enforcement agencies, there's 4. We actually also have one with Scott Township. So we have Scott, Grafton, Carnegie, and Robinson. Those are updated every 2 years with them, and we're on cycle for this summer to update that MOU with the services that they provide to the district.
Thank you.
And now for our Crafton report. Crafton Elementary School, we have Ms. Sarah Parrish, principal, who has a engaging report for us.
I will keep it short, like my stature. All right, well, thank you for having me to present. This is going to cover what we did during quarter 1. This is our Crafton Elementary Building Report, brought to you by Principal Parrish. We started the year off with our positive project. We rolled right into our PBIS assembly with Josh and Gat. The kids love to sing and dance and participate in this assembly. The songs can be heard the remainder of the day. Our students were also excited to celebrate with their friends back around our lunch tables, eating our delicious lunches. We rolled right into our family literacy night in September. Families came in and purchased books from Scholastics, as well as participated in literacy and art activities throughout the building. The families were also invited to play a little game of mini golf to win a prize. Our 6th grade students had clear skies for their rocket launch. The rocket launch was a success. We've also added a bunch more paraprofessionals to help support the new programming that was brought over to Crafton. They have been supporting our students And we also participated in Haunted Craftin'.
My favorite thing about crafting is having time with friends and with teachers. My favorite thing about crafting is having time with friends and having recess. My favorite thing about crafting is our principal and our teachers.
Nice work. We also celebrated and wished a farewell to Miss Noreen Kelly.
My favorite thing about crafting is there's art stuff, but it's the kindness.
Speaking of kindness, we launched our Be the Kind Kid campaign. Our first recipient was Anita Orloff, and our second was Carson Warren. Eli, what'd you earn? PAWS and Cougar coupons are part of our PBIS system at Crafton. Students demonstrate being responsible, being respectful, and being ready. After 9 minutes off with Halloween parade and dance sponsored by the PTA.
Sergeant Pepper.
We've had a great time during the first 9 weeks at Crafton and are looking forward to a great rest of the year. Thank you.
Alright, so I said also a lot, but we also did some other things that I'm going to mention.
This is our Crafton.
Our honorable mentions that didn't make it in, because I was still counting when I had to turn this in, we earned 2,934 Cougar coupons. So that's, students get rewarded for the great behaviors demonstrating those 3 Bs. Chill room drop-ins, students were 245 drop-ins. Another big thing that is going on is the launch of our Project Playground, with a shout out to the PTA who is leading that charge to improve our playgrounds, and shout out to the Schreiber team who made it look very nice with the painting. The kids love that. Keeps them very busy. Some new additions to Crafton: school counselor Dom Politi. Kaylee Koss is our long-term sub in kindergarten. In 6th grade, we added Katie Spin, Kiri McGregor, Danny Recanu, and in the cafeteria, Sarah Rump. They've all hit the ground running and have fit right into the building. And we are very happy to have them. Another thing that was brought to my attention earlier in the year is a coffee. I hope it's just tea, but I think it's some coffee on Fridays. Our students are meeting with some teachers and staff just as a bonding activity before school starts. Then they're hyped up for the rest of the day, keeping Fridays interesting. We have our first batch of Student of the Month members, more to come. We had a visit from Alma's Way. This is really interesting to see. This is in partnership with PBS and the Fred Rogers group. They came in and did some piloting with their upcoming programming. We're excited to see what comes from those experiences. Alma's Way will be visiting the other 2 kindergarten classes throughout the school year. I have one more little video for you, I think. Are because I hit the gritty. I did this at the Josh and Gavin. I don't know if you know what the gritty is, but you should learn it, and kids will think you are really cool if you hit the gritty. One other thing, we did a Veterans Day celebration out front. Students helped put flags and letters out to celebrate those, and created an honor wall on our first floor with veterans from the community that were submitted. And we'll keep together and we can. So thank you very much. Any questions? Mateo.
How did you get Josh and Gab back?
How did I get them back?
Yeah.
I don't know, I just asked.
Because a couple of years passed where we didn't get Josh and Gab.
Were you out of control, baby?
It was so sad.
No, well, they're back in action
That's awesome.
and excited to be. With the help from the Rotary, they were very excited to sponsor that.
Excitement with the glue sticks.
The,
Too much excitement with the glue
oh my gosh, that song, the glue sticks, the song Snow. Everyone loved it, and they were just so inclusive to everyone in our building. So it was a really great thing to see. Anything else? No? All right. Thank you.
Sarah, since you mentioned the playground painting, I want to call out one of our own student representatives. So Rose, you spent a lot of time painting up the playground at Crafton. So
Thank you very much. It looks wonderful.
Since we're talking about student representatives, why don't we talk to the student representatives about your reports? So, who's going to lead off tonight?
My name is Rose Hyphon, and I'm the student representative of the junior class.
My name is Mateo Carrasco, and I'm the student rep for the seniors. And we are pretty honored to have the opportunity to highlight some of the fun things that students at Carleton are doing outside of schoolwork.
So we'll cover like the old business first, but one thing that I'd like to cover that we already talked about at the last meeting was the butterfly mural that was painted in Carnegie Park. And there were several occasions where students went on field trips, and we went and painted, and it was a great experience, and we spent hours on end there. And now that it's completed, we are able to go and just say that we contributed to our community. And I like to jump to kind of like the new business, but Stacy Riley, who is the mayor of Carnegie, she came down whenever we were about to leave, and she wanted to, I guess, like congratulate us for taking the time to actually go down there and participate in this, this piece of art that we created. And so she wants to kind of hold like an unveiling, and she wants the, I guess, participants or just anybody to go down and to see the unveiling, and there's going to be food and music, and she just overall wants to have a celebration because it's such a cool thing that we were able to do, to be able to go down there and paint something that is going to be there for a while. So we were told that bring whoever you like, and it's the more the merrier. But
When is it?
that's something that we don't know yet. We don't know the date, but she did say that she would update us whenever we know the date. But overall, it was a great experience being able to go down there and contribute to the community.
Another thing that happened was the play, Sorry Wrong Show. I personally went to it twice. If I could have gone 4 times, I would have. It was written by the 8th grade teacher, Tonalyn Jackson. And at first I was like skeptical because I was like, yeah, like our own teacher wrote a play. But it was awesome. It was really, really fun. A lot of my friends were in it. And members of the play worked extremely hard on the play. The costumes were awesome. It was set in about like 70s, 90s, so the style was like retro. It was really
Vintage.
We'll say 80s, because that's right. And after that, the Powder Puff game just happened. That was last week. It was awesome. I was a cheerleader. And so, yeah, the girls from 9th through 12th grade competed. It was 9th grade against 9th grade and 11th grade against 10th grade and 12th grade. And I'm happy to say 10th and 12th won. Sorry, but it's okay. If Mrs. O'Brien was here, she would be happy about that. Dr. Roberts in 10th grade. Yeah, so the boys decided to do cheerleading. We learned a lot of cheers that we would do during the game, and at halftime we had a big halftime dance. A lot of people went there. I know a lot of the money went to fundraising activities, and that is great. The National Honor Society decided to get service hours to help concession stands, help run the tickets and everything. And overall, there was a big turnout, and it was awesome.
And then speaking of the National Honor Society, on Thursday, November 14th, we had the induction ceremony for the new members, as well as the National Junior Honor Society too. And current members and officers also gathered in the auditorium with their family members, and as well as teachers, Mr. Cinco, Mr. Colonna, and Mr. Laughlin, Mr. Taylor, and Dr. Critter. They all recognized those new students that were inducted to kind of highlight their accomplishments and their efforts, and just to kind of show that they are very successful students and very hardworking. And then also the officers did their speeches about leadership, scholarship, and so much more. So it was great. Every year it's always so awesome seeing all the new faces, but they're always so excited to be inducted. So yeah.
Moving on to new business. Boys and girls who play or are interested in basketball, the season is starting right now, so they get to indulge in that passion. It's coming close to starting, and students have been practicing nonstop for the upcoming season. And students who aren't on the team are excited to pack the den and support. I know me personally, I'm going to be coming up with as many new chants as possible, and they will be student-friendly, don't worry. And yeah, additionally, there's been talk of merchandise and baked goods being sold at the games by either the Black Student Union or the student government in order to raise money for their clubs, and they'll have to get ideas on what to sell, but that's an exciting sport that's coming up.
And then student government always creates new drinks for the Cougar Cafe, which I think was one of the smartest things that they came up with is, having the Cougar Cafe, because I know so many students that love to go out and get drinks themselves in the morning, and so it kind of saves them that money because, it's only a few dollars less, but it's also contributing to the school and their profits as well, and they're able to, create new drinks, and they're really excited that the pumpkin drink that they sold for fall time did really, really well, and so they created a peppermint hot chocolate drink and a gingerbread iced coffee drink that will be, they said, dropping very soon. So they're very excited, and they know that it'll do well, especially the hot chocolate, because there's always students that are like, I don't drink coffee, and so there's a lot of students that are excited for that. And then there's also been rumors of like whipped cream being approved, and so they're excited about that too. They're very excited about the new whipped cream. So.
On a slightly sadder note, Riley's Poorhouse in Carnegie, that is dear to many, many Carleton community members. I won't say too much on it, but it's very sad what happened to it. And it's a mess, and there's a lot of remains that are sitting there. And so students in general, and especially the National Honor Society, kind of want to get together and help clean up with the workers and the people that have to kind of clean up the mess. And we want to volunteer our time and make sure the area is clean and safe. And they really feel terrible for the people that have to work with it and the people that owned it. And yeah, that hasn't been completely, brought into fruition. But once that is approved by Mrs. Rasenko, I know a lot of people are going to want to sign up for that. So yeah, and I think that's it. Thank you.
Awesome. Great report. For student government. Wonderful. Thank you. We can go on to committee reports. Dr. Apple, anything to share on Parkway West?
A couple of things. Thank you. Usually trying to figure out how to move the agenda on my phone, and I finally got it. The big news as far as Carleton and Parkway goes is every month we have an AM and a PM student of the month. Our students attend the PM session at Parkway West. And this month, the student for October, the student of the month was, and I'm going to butcher this name and I apologize. Miled?
Well,
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
And so, just some of the comments I wrote down whenever the principal, Rock Snedeker, was announcing. He calls her the mayor of Parkway. He says, one of the top 10 students they've ever had out there. She reads the announcements and then helps out in the front office. That's from the secretary up there. And I'm reading a little bit about her here. And her program is health occupations, and some of the activities she's participating in are Skills USA, Student Ambassador, Student Council President, National Technical Honor Society, Culture Club President, Best Buddies, Peer Mentor, Volleyball and Track, and she will continue her education at Robert Morris University, where she earned an $84,000 merit scholarship. So that's just a really awesome thing, and I wanted to make sure we recognized her in our public meeting as well. Speaking of RMU, we're kind of looking next year, or this coming year, at holding Parkway graduation ceremonies there in order to have enough space for everybody who would like to attend, instead of splitting it into a two-session sort of thing. We've been doing it Montour High School auditorium, and grown that. So it's not a done deal yet, but hopefully we're going to be able to work out an arrangement with Robert Morris University, and so everyone who wants to attend can attend. And then the preliminary budget has been approved, and it will be sent around to the various school districts, sending school districts for approval by our board. And that is all I have.
Director Anshar, any updates on Pathfinder?
Sure, Jim. Our last meeting was the Pathfinder meeting was the third Wednesday in October. We got a school safety grant that has addressed the door security. Our grounds manager, David Matsey, is working on a $15,000 to $20,000 feasibility project for capital improvements, the roof, parking lots. There's 50 items. You have to keep in mind the Pathfinder was built in the 60s. So there are so many things that are going to have to be addressed. Principals report, they had a successful open house. They're actually, for the teachers and for the kids, they're getting into mindful breathing exercises to fight stress. We have 86 kids, 2 of whom are from Carlington. We have 3 kids that are ESL kids at Pathfinder. And Brian, the AIU representative, said that the main renter at Pathfinder is the AIU at $59,000 per year per student. The next meeting is tomorrow. Thank you. Oh, one more thing. The kids, the students that are 18 to 21 years old, there's a very successful program sending them out to work assignments. One of the best parts of it is because the T is right next to Pathfinder. They just jump on the T and they can work downtown Pittsburgh or a little further than South Hills Village. It's a very successful program. And it's helping them in their careers. It's usually a stepping stone to better careers once they graduate. Thank you.
Director Zelensky, any updates on Shasta?
I don't have any report.
No, the only thing Shasta has started to implement is Student of the Quarter, where each of the school districts have an opportunity to recognize one student from the district, and each of the cooperating schools involved with Shasta The student then receives a $25 gift card as a result of being nominated. So that's something new, we'll do 4 times a year.
Director Vogliano, anything on legislative PSBA?
Not much. The state legislature held their leadership elections this month. They're breaking until the new year for new legislative session. On swearing-in day, they will elect new committee positions. That's about it. January 7th.
Okay.
Swearing-in day.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And Director Simsek, any updates on the foundation?
We haven't had a meeting.
How was First Bingo?
First Bingo was a huge success. It's always, like I said, it was sold out in 4 days when tickets went on sale. So we get a lot of volunteers from the students as well. So we really appreciate all the help that comes to make this such a successful event each year. So.
Thanks. Any questions on any of the committee reports? We will move on. Under section 4 of our agenda, we have several items. I'd like to break it up into 2 chunks. So if we can look at items 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 7. So omitting item number 5. I'll entertain a motion to approve items 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7 under section 4 miscellaneous.
I so
Moved and seconded. Thank you. Any questions or discussion? Not will vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Back to section 4, item number 5, which is the construction manager item. I'll entertain a motion to approve that item.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Thank you very much. Any questions or discussion?
So we met with several folks. Can you guys give
For Massaro?
Yeah.
Yes, we did. We went through, we interviewed several firms, went through the process with the interview team, and we looked at a variety of different components based on experience in K-12 education, the number of projects that have been served, the amount of money that has been taken into consideration for each of those projects, overall reputation, and just answers to the questions that we had through the interview process. We also then followed up for our finalists to make sure we checked references. We checked references with 2 superintendents who had some experience working with Massaro in the past.
Any other questions or comments? If not, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay. Thank you. And to clarify, your abstention is not because of an official conflict, just you prefer to abstain.
No, just for the record, the president of Massaro Construction is the secretary of my, or treasurer of my personal board of directors at work, so just to avoid any perceived conflict.
So, in spite of the abstention, motion carries. Thank you. Under section 5, finance, we have a total of 5 items. I'll entertain a motion to approve all 5.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Thank you. Any questions or discussion? Not will vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Under section 6, we have 4 items. I'll entertain a motion to approve all 4 items under section 6.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Thank you very much. Any questions or comments? Not will vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Congratulations. Under section 7, student activities, there's 1 item. I'll entertain a motion to approve that item.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Thank you. Any questions or discussion? Not will vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
I do just want to say one thing. I was part of that negotiating team. I wanted to really thank the members of the SCA because, it was very respectful and productive, and I learned a lot and appreciate the time that you took for that process.
Thank you. The same feelings on our side. It was very respectful. You were very patient, and it was a, you know, a good experience.
Thank you. Section 8, policies. Dr. Kreider outlined a few changes to the policies. I'll entertain a motion to approve those changes. Moved and seconded. Thank you. Any questions or discussion? If not, we'll vote on section 8. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Old business. Any director have any old business they would like to bring up? New business. Anybody have any new business they'd like to discuss? Yeah. Open forum. Members of the public. Yes, Britt.
Sorry, back again. So this is not to be political or anything, but I have been doing a lot of research, so I just kind of want to bring it to the board's attention so that you guys can start thinking about it, and now your attention. So as most of you know, our new president-elect has very strong opinions regarding undocumented immigrants, people here in the United States, X, Y, and Z. I am a contractor in Pittsburgh Public, have lots of students that are undocumented, and so I've looked into a lot of what Pittsburgh Public's policy is. The superintendent sent out a notice. So I just want to bring to the board's attention and so you guys can start talking about it. So, and I'm not sure Dr. Kreider and Dr. Hiller, if you guys have even thought about this, but is there a policy in place? So schools are considered special locations, right? Sensitive locations. So technically, under policy right now, ICE really can't just come in and take anybody they want out of this, even with a warrant, because of FERPA. FERPA covers all that. You can't release any information that says the student's undocumented or not, regardless if they have a warrant or not. They're protected under that. So I just kind of want to see if you guys have started talking about it, and this might be a solicitor question, like what our stance is as a school district on protecting our students here, especially again, because I'm in Carnegie, and those students in that school have a special place in my heart, and those parents, you know, some of them may not feel comfortable coming to speak at the forum or, you know, have the ability to get here. So have we thought about what we would do if wide sweeping policies came about and ICE comes knocking at the door saying, give us your students? Not saying that's happening, but these are things that I think about as a parent, that I think about as a mental health specialist working with families that are undocumented. And I honestly, I didn't do much research into our policies, but if there is a policy, could you put me where it is so I can look at it and maybe bring it up to the next one?
No, we would not. We wouldn't have any policy that would go into that depth. My experience in working with ICE is they do not involve school districts in the process because they recognize that those who are here illegally, the district does not know.
Undocumented. Illegally, they're not illegal, so undocumented works better. Thank you. It's just changing our narrative. Yeah.
Right, but as a district, we have no idea about their status.
Okay, but I'm saying, is that something you guys are going to look into again, given that that could potentially be something that happens? You know, again, speaking on behalf of the other families in, Carnegie that may not have a voice, and other undocumented families that I've worked with, this is something that they worry about.
The PSBA is looking into developing any policies. That's generally the experts who in Pennsylvania develop those policies. We'll take a look at if there's been any thought into it with the upcoming administration, if that's something that they deem to be relevant. But we'll look into it.
And what was that, sorry? What was where you're going to look?
PSBA.
PSBA is an organization.
Pennsylvania School Board Association.
That's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, they have experts who develop and draft policies based on case law, statutory law, regulations, things like that. So as things develop and things change, they probably are looking into it. But we can look into whether it's something they are anticipating.
Okay. And if it's not, would that though be something that you guys maybe would like to look in, given that we have a huge undocumented we have a huge English learning development ELL population who may be undocumented? Is that something that we would potentially as a board, as a school district would maybe want to explore, even if other places are, that we have our own policy that's clear to our families, like, hey, we are going to protect you, we're going to do, like, and I get it, they stay out of it, but like, things are changing rapidly, and so I want to make sure that we as a district are like,
We would follow the law, but I don't know that any of us are prepared to answer questions of hypotheticals yet, but it's a topic that we'll want to pay attention to and stand for.
so should we get in front of it before something happens? Like, that's all I'm asking, like, are you guys going to?
Federal statutes generally supersede at the local level.
This is
why
really information we shouldn't even know. I'm surprised that you even know.
Well, and my families I work with, I know that because I work with them. They disclose that. That's why I'm asking. Like,
but I think what we've illustrated or suggested our next steps is that our solicitor will start to take a scan and do some discovery of what's out there, and after that, then we can have a discussion about what comes next. I don't think we're ready to commit to what comes next after that, but right now we'll do some due diligence and then.
thank you. And then who would somebody like bring that up at the next 4B? Like, I just want to make sure, like, or could I bring it up and see if you have answers?
Sure.
Okay, perfect.
Any other open forum questions? Yes.
I had a question about the locker room facilities here at the junior, senior high. I was not sure where to go to see if there are any updates currently planned, or even potentially put some of those things on your radar. So there, our custodian, the evening custodian, Jackie, has been absolutely fantastic in getting some privacy curtains for the shower stalls and the changing stalls, especially in the boys' locker room. There was nothing for them to have any privacy. I don't know if you've been in there, but even the toilets have 2 tiled pony walls. So they're just half walls. There's no doors. There's no privacy offered for them at all. And then on top of that, the hand or hair dryers, they're mounted on the walls. None of them work. So as we go into the colder temperature months, those are kind of amenities that I feel like should be pretty basic here. So if that wasn't already on the radar, is there some immediate solutions that we could look at, and then maybe some longer term renovations to that space? And it's pretty concerning that our boys don't have an opportunity to have even just a modicum of privacy in that space.
I second that. My son was in swim. He was there with his sister who was in swim, and he came out of the restroom and told me, "Mom, there's no privacy." I go, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "The walls are this high, and there's no doors." I go, "You mean for the stalls to go to the bathroom?" He said, "Yeah." And I was shocked.
So this comes from our middle school swimmers and the Aqua Club, but we have like 4-year-olds to 18-year-olds that are sharing that space. We currently have 2 kids that are able to change at a time because they utilize the lockers in the 2 corners. So they open the lockers and stretch a towel across. So even just wrapping up our practice in the evening is probably a good 45 minutes or so because only 2 kids can change at a time.
Great feedback. Noted on our list.
We can look at it, yeah, that's something we can take a look at. We did take a look at locker room renovations. We did some minor renovations, just the flooring in the team locker room, and then it had some considerations for just locker improvements, but we'll also take a look at the facilities as well. Just in regard to, 1 was privacy, and then 2 was the operation of the dryers in there.
The hand dryers, and then there have been issues off and on with the showers. Sometimes the water doesn't turn off at all. And I don't know, maybe the students in the room could correct me too. Are there 2 sets of locker rooms? I think there's locker rooms for the gym. Is it the same locker room that's accessible from the pool?
It's the same room, but most of the time it's locked and it's not accessible.
Okay.
Great feedback. Thank you. Any other open forum questions or comments? If not, turning to
Jim, I'd like to go back to new business and congratulate the coaching staff and our football team for a fabulous historic year. How could you have forgotten that? We should have them here.
Well, at December's meeting, we plan to go over the the update on fall athletics. We had a very successful fall
Yeah.
athletics program in general.
Yeah.
Just beyond the football team, which was notable, but yeah, we had a lot of great performances for our student athletes.
Thank you.
I think we have one more question.
Yeah, just one other question. In the absence of Dr. Manchester's retirement, there was some summer programming that was held at Crofton Elementary. So just looking ahead to the new year, I didn't know if there were any plans or discussions starting about some of those programs. I think Art Expressions was a grant, but I imagine that there's still a lot of need and interest in that, in those programs.
Yeah, both the programs that we had at Crafton were funded by grant. That was it was COVID money that was actually used to provide that service. We did have plans to revisit the types of programming that we provide for kids over the summer, but it was quite expensive. But it's that balance between the expense and the value to our kids that we need to continue to consider.
Any other open forum questions? Board members, any open forum questions? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting. Moved, second, thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. We are adjourned.